self-improvement course or program would be complete without dealing with traumas that have been experienced as a child in your childhood. I would venture to say at minimum 80% of all of us, 80% of us adults have experienced some kind of trauma as a child with our parents most of the time. When we're born, life gives us this gift, superpower gift, that will help us to be successful in life. But it's hidden, it's embedded in some kind of childhood trauma. And I'll tell you why. Because energy has to remain equal. So the bigger the traumatic event that happened in your childhood, you were abused by your mother, your father, the bigger, potentially bigger, is the gift that comes out of that. When you master that situation, when you master the emotionality that comes out of that situation, there is your gift, your superhero gift. It's different for everybody. Everybody's trauma is different. Based on the kind of person you are and other factors, you're going to react differently. Let's take myself for a situation for a moment. My father wasn't there when I was growing up. Father left at 3, 4 years old. And my mom was very physically abusive to me growing up. So what happened to me? Well, because of my father not being there, I had difficulty developing relationships with men. I don't have male friends. I don't know how to do that male bonding thing. And I've struggled with that through my life. Now, because of that, problems dealing with men, how many opportunities do you think were closed to me? My mom was physically abusive because she was a victim of very traumatic childhood abuse. But because she was abusive to me physically, I had anger to women, particularly black women. My mother, I come across black women every day, had that black angry man syndrome because I was being hit and beat. I couldn't defend myself. So I stayed angry. How do you think that affects my dealings with women my entire life? So it's taking me a while. I'm still working on it, but it's taking me a while to recognize that and begin to deal with it. It's painful memories and stuff. And so I've built this program to include that, a very particular module for including that, because most of us do not deal with it. And the trauma that we suffer as a child, it tracks with us our entire life. Your greatest powers and gifts is in there, but we don't usually release that power. We run away from the pain. The gift or the power is better within that, you know? So that's what I wanted to talk about today is taking the time, and I have some other programs going to come out with some tools to dig into your psyche and clean out some of that stuff, some of that traumatic happenings that occurred to you, situations, events. It's not always usually with, siblings or friends, but mostly with the parents. Was your mom alcoholic? Was your father alcoholic? Was your father a workaholic? Was he not there to give you affection? There's so many different variables. Were you abused sexually, or just mentally, or physically, or all three? Did you grow up in extreme poverty, extreme wealth? Every situation, there's so many different ways, an infinitude amount of ways in which this trauma would affect you as a child growing up. Or something traumatic happens as an adult and shifts and changes your life. Any person you can ask who's extremely successful or extremely something or whatever, well known, there was something that occurred in their life that shifted them. There's always something. The bigger the gift, the bigger the pain is that you have to pay for that gift. Because everything is energy. Everything has to remain balanced. So don't see it in the proper way. It's just energy. Energy is just staying balanced on both sides of the equation. So begin to delve in quietly and ask yourself, how do I feel about my mom? How do I feel about my dad? And start to take notes as to what feelings come up when you're being truthful to yourself. Don't just ask the question and let the answers bubble up. And we're going to deal with the therapy side of this in the next video.